Hello, and welcome to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Anna Simet. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're continuing our panel preview series for the International Biomass Conference and Expo, which is being held in Atlanta, March 18th through the 20th. And for these podcasts, we are chatting with some of our speakers to give our listeners some sneak peeks of the presentations that we have coming to the show. And today I have with me Tyler Brown, segment manager at Andritz Feed and Biofuel, and he will be presenting in track 1, densified pellets and densified biomass, in a panel that I expect to be a fan favorite. It's called From Automation to Artificial Intelligence, Modern Technologies for Operational Optimization. Bit of a mouthful. Tyler, hello, and welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. So before we dive into the details, can you share a bit about your background and your experience in the biomass industry?
Absolutely. So my journey in the biomass industry started actually with the Mondes call. And before that, I was involved in industrial power solutions, which is probably the furthest away from biomass. I worked my way up starting in spare and wear, then moving into service, later managing spare part operations, and then finally stepping into a business development role, all within 5 years. That experience kind of gave me a solid foundation, not just in technical aspects of biomass pelleting, but also in the strategic business growth and market expansion around biomass. I've had a few chances to work closely with customers across different industries, looking at optimizing their biomass production, whether that meant upgrading equipment, troubleshooting on-site challenges, or even identifying new market opportunities. So now in my role as Biomass Industrial Segment Manager at Andritz Feed and Biofuel, my main focus is on solutions for biomass and alternative fuels, especially in industries like power generation, cement, and steel. And my work involves collaborating with industry leaders to ensure that biomass remains scalable, viable, and sustainable as we push towards decarbonization.
Okay, so Tyler, your upcoming presentation at the conference is titled The Future of Biomass Pellet Production. Can you give us a preview about what you'll be discussing?
Yeah, so this presentation will focus on how biomass, particularly in pellet form, is evolving to meet the growing demand for renewable energy. So the goal is we'll explore the role of biomass in the global energy transition, including how white pellets, steam explode pellets, and torrefied biomass can serve as direct replacements for fossil fuels. But a major theme of the discussion will be how business can support industries where electrification and hydrogen adoption face hurdles, and we can dive into the next wave of biomass innovation, looking at new technologies like biofuel, biomethane, and carbon capture.
Love it. Okay. So your presentation highlights the role of biomass in the ongoing global energy transition. Can you elaborate how biomass, particularly advanced pellets, fits into this shift? And then how does it compare to other renewable energy sources in terms of sustainability and scalability?
So the fourth global energy transition is driven by the urgent need to mitigate climate change, reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and improve energy security. So I believe biomass plays a critical role in this shift because it's one of the few renewable energy sources that can directly replace fossil fuels in existing infrastructures. Unlike wind or solar, which would require grid adaptations, and energy solution storage, biomass, especially in the form of white pellets, steam explode pellets, and torrefied biomass, as mentioned before, offers an immediate drop-in alternative for power, whereas hydrogen adoption can be challenging. So looking at the global energy landscape, regions like Europe have identified biomass as a key player in their net zero scenarios, which with responsible sourcing, forestry biomass within biodiversity limits, agricultural residues, and waste to energy solutions, I believe biomass can be a long-term sustainable energy source that complements other renewables.
So advanced pellet solutions like steam exploded and torrefied pellets have been really gaining traction. In fact, this issue of Pellet Mill magazine that's in production has a lot of content related to that. Could you break down the key benefits of these technologies and then how do they enhance biomass as a viable alternative to traditional fuels, especially for industries like steel and cement?
Absolutely. I mean, it's no surprise that we're seeing a lot of traction now, especially with the changes we're seeing in just the traditional white pelleting, because we've already seen the proven effectiveness of white pellets as a coal alternative, especially for co-firing and power plants. But as industries look for higher energy dense solutions, I believe steam exploded and torrefied pellets will provide significant advantages. So, for instance, steam exploded pellets, the process, if you're not familiar, it basically undergoes a high temperature, high pressure pretreatment before pelleting, which the reason why you do this is it improves the grindability and hydrophobic properties, making them easier to handle and to store. But the biggest advantage is that they can be used in existing coal-fired boilers with minimum modifications, which makes it highly practical. Now, torrefied pellets, it's an even more energy-dense resource, which through a controlled heating process and oxygen-free environment, biomass is transformed into a carbon-rich fuel with properties similar to coal, which makes torrefied pellets ideal replacement in industries like steel and cement, where high-temperature heat is essential. So I believe both of these technologies provide industries with a realistic pathway to decarbonization, particularly in sectors where alternatives like electrification or hydrogen are not yet economically viable.
Well explained. So your presentation mentions beyond solid biofuels as being the next frontier. What are some of the emerging innovations in the biomass industry? And then how do you see its role evolving in the next decade to meet net zero targets?
Sure. While solid biofuels like pellets will continue to play a major role in the energy transition, I believe the next wave of innovation is focused on expanding biomass applications beyond combustion-based energy. So some key developments we've seen is pyrolysis oil and hydrothermal liquefaction. These processes convert biomass into liquid biofuels that can be refined into a synthetic diesel or a sustainable aviation fuel, which is a big buzzword right now, providing renewable alternative to petroleum-based fuels. We've also seen gasification. So biomass gasification produces clean syngas that can be used for renewable natural gas or hydrogen or synthetic fuels, offering versatility for industrial and also transport applications, which there's becoming a huge need for. And the last one I believe we're going to see a bit more of is biomethane and biohydrogen, which is upgrading biogas from organic waste and agricultural residues to produce biomethane, which allows for direct integration to existing natural gas infrastructure. So one of the most significant factors, though, influencing biomass's role in the energy mix, I believe, will still be regulatory support and carbon pricing, with increasing incentives for carbon negative technologies. And I believe biomass integrated with carbon capture storage could become a leading strategy for removing CO2.
Well said. All right. Well, we don't want to give too much of your presentation away, so we'll wrap it up there. But before we do, Tyler, is there anything else that you want to add?
Just that I'm looking forward to seeing everybody at the show, and I can't wait to connect.
Absolutely. And Tyler, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I really look forward to your presentation.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
You bet. And to our listeners, catch Tyler's presentation on Wednesday, March 19th at the 1:00 panel in track number 1, Pellets and Densified Biomass. Learn more and register for the event at biomassconference.com. Those who meet our biomass energy producer criteria get in for free. And with that, we will wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you at the show. Until next time.